It's my privilege to introduce one of my mentors, my friend, my Egmo, and I think we've known ourselves for over close to 10 years, if I'm not wrong, if I'm correct. Uh, we so we have a lot of things to talk about. So let's just dive into it so that we have just 1 hour and we can actually go on and on and we'll forget that we have a short time. What we're talking about today is surviving the Nigerian economic challenges as a creative, as a business owner, as a startup, irrespective of what line of creative you are coming from, either as an architect, a designer, a logo designer, a DJ, a fabricator, but just someone that puts put a thought process or try to be creative with their brain and maybe scribble one or two things. It's not easy running business at this point in time. So I'll dive into it immediately, and I would like to ask that the past 11 months, thereabouts, after the new dispensation of the new government, how have you, as a business owner or as a creative, how has it been? I want to juggle your mind. How has it been so far?
Well, the thing is that the past 11 months have been somewhat strange. I know it's a lot of times like that because there's here in Nigeria there's been a change in administration, and whenever you have a change in administration, there's always a change in personnel, always followed by a change in policies, and there's always a need to realign yourself and re-navigate yourself. And so the past year has been a type of orientation for me as a person, for me as a creative, um, and even as a business. It has been a time to reorientate myself. And that's what people need to understand, that everywhere in the world where there is a change in administration, people always, the first mistake we make is that we expect that things would go the way things have always been. That in itself is a mistake. You must be ready for changes, and you must gear up and adjust yourself for changes. So for me, as a business person, it has been one where I've uh, you know, and it's a bit too early to summarize the impact that's had on me. But then I realized that for me as a creative, it has been one where I've come to not hold on to the old ways I've been doing things, and to start being open to new ways of thinking, of working, and of positioning myself. So it has been interesting to say the least. It seems a bit scary, especially when you have policies out there, but then policies that seem that they're going to shake up your life a lot. But then it's one of those things where you kind of think to yourself, okay, it's either you swim or you sink, you understand? And so it's now like you measure how deep the water is and how much energy you need to save, how deep, how far, how wide, and how much energy you need to save to even survive this course at all.
That gives it a broader perspective because, like you said, we sometimes, maybe as individuals or as business owners, we feel that things should go the way they should. But when there's a change in government, I remember when Buhari came into, there was a bit of scarcity of work, scarcity of funds, and gradually people started picking up. So I think with every dispensation, there's tendency for things to shake up a bit now, but once you put in a few structures in place to be able to take in the shock. Um, so, as that being said, what would you say a creative can leverage on? You know, with this foundation that you've laid, what will be that thing, or what are those things that you would suggest that a creative should leverage on to be able to weather the storm or get his footing right, irrespective of whatever the economy is saying?
I think it's important to put it in good perspective. It's important to know what the economy is saying right now. And so, for anyone that lives in Nigeria, and I say this in Nigeria to narrow it down, this is a global thing where nearly every economy in the world right now is challenging. But
Mm.
let's narrow it down to Nigeria so that the scope is not too wide. Um, Now, the economy has really been um, distorted and disrupted. Um, you see, this is where I, I I think people need to get it clear that the way the economy in Nigeria right now is structured, with the increase in the cost of living that has almost quadrupled, if not gone by five, some areas even almost 10 times. Um, what I would tell people to do is number one, to understand that in times of war, normalcy is suspended. And this is where people might say, okay, what war are we in right now? But then this is where people have a notion that we only have territorial wars. So they think of the war between Israel and um, Palestine. They think of the war between Ukraine and Russia. And those are territorial wars, you understand? But the wars are not restricted to territories. We also have economic wars. And that's what we are having right now in Nigeria. It's an economic war. They are more internal wars. They are not fought with guns or bombs. They are fought with policies and pens and legislation. And so we are in such in that era right now where we are in a war, an economic war, and there have been casualties, and there will continue to be casualties, and especially in economic wars, like in territorial wars, you have human loss of human life. In economic wars, you have loss of like economic life, and
Yes.
what that means is that businesses will die, and businesses are dying, and you know, in this kind of situation that we find ourselves right now, there are there are three classes of business in every economic war. There are three classes of business. There are businesses that will die fast, businesses that will die slowly, and businesses that will profit from the death of these other two businesses. So I'll say it again. In every economic war, there are businesses that will die fast, businesses that will die slowly, and businesses that will orchestrate and benefit from the death of all these, the previous two businesses that I just said. And so immediately this administration started, and there was um, a lift on subsidy. The next day, some businesses died.
Mm.
So the next day they died. You understand? The next day they couldn't cope anymore. You understand? So they died immediately. And you see, those ones that died immediately. There were a lot of them that just closed up businesses immediately. They couldn't cope anymore. There was no way of them surviving as a business.
Mm.
And then right now we have those group of businesses that think they are in existence but don't understand that they are dying slowly. And I think those are the worst ones. At least the
Mm.
ones that died immediately could come to terms to the fact that we have died. We need to look for another option. The ones I'm talking about are the middle ones. There are many, very many of them. I know that ones they're asking me about now. Those people that run creative business, photography business, whatever business they're running, fast food business, delivery business, logistic business, they are dying slowly. They don't even know that they're dying. And so they keep having this conversation of how can my business thrive in a time of economic hardship. But what they don't know is that very few businesses thrive in war. Do you understand? So it's the wrong discussion to be having. How can you thrive? No, you're not, a lot of people are not going to thrive. It's how can you extend your time across this
Yeah.
um, administration that you do not die. But
Mm.
the illusion of thriving is an illusion. You understand? The only business that will thrive in this kind of era that we are in are the businesses that are positioned to profit from the death of all these other businesses. And they're not just, I'm not talking about hardworking businesses. So people might think, okay, these are the hardworking businesses, businesses with good policies, with good strategy. No, no, no. I'm talking about businesses that are run by a class of society called oligarchs. You understand? So you have people that are called oligarchs. What they are a few people that are going to take over those smaller businesses, those ones that will die eventually. You understand? So they're going to come in and they're going to kind of monopolize industries. So one thing I'm going to advise people to do at this point, because people still have this mentality, how do I make my business survive? No, it's not going to work that way. What is going to work right now is if people start collaborating some more. What's going to work right now is business collaboration. What you need to do right now is band together and begin to share money rather than save money. Businesses creatives need to start coming together and start having more communal strategies where they work together. You understand? That's the only way whereby you work, OJ, and I work, and on a good day I do this work alone. But now I need to call you in, and we agree. We have some kind of agreement that we work on projects together. So during my downtime, we can both have we can both share what you make in your, to survive. So it now has to be a communal strategy. It cannot be business as usual because the truth is every business is going to die. That's the truth. If you continue like this and everyone is doing every man for his own, no business would survive. In the end, all the businesses would be acquired. All the business spaces will be taken up by one or two businesses that will sell to us. So I'll give you this example. We have businesses that have died slowly over time. Even international business, they've died slowly in Nigeria. A business like ShopRite. ShopRite is dead in Nigeria. You understand? It doesn't exist in Nigeria anymore. You might say, but I still pass by ShopRite today. No, it was the shell of ShopRite. ShopRite has left Nigeria. And somebody else, another Nigerian company owned by an oligarch, has taken over it. You understand? And now they're now selling to you like ShopRite. You give them 2 or 3 years, they will change that name, and you realize that who was behind it was not the real ShopRite. And there are going to be many other businesses like that. You see, filling stations too are beginning to. Most filling stations are now NNPC. You understand? And that's because they can't survive anymore. You realize after a while that they cannot even buy fuel to sell at retail anymore. And then to be the people with deep pockets that will take over these filling stations and sell. But unless there's a banding together whereby there has to be a collaborative way of working together. As especially when you look at creative industry, we must start having creative collectives, you understand, whereby everybody's one person's job is you know how people do like a journal,
Mm.
just where they put money together.
Yeah.
You know why they do stuff like that? It's because they realize that today one person will be up, tomorrow some person will be down. So to save is almost like passing an oxygen mask around.
Mm.
Instead of everybody dying and one person sucking all the oxygen, you just have to take it, hold your breath, give to the next person.
Mm.
And that's what needs to happen in the creative industry. So I would advise any creative to look at collaborations. Collaborations are it's the currency going forward. So if you're working alone as a creative, you are in danger. You need to work in herds right now and have collective communities like that where you share work and you might not be making as much, but at least everybody gets to survive the day.
I'm smiling. I'm so hard. I'm trying so hard to keep my emotions, but I'm smiling because this is something that we have. But maybe for myself, I don't know. Maybe a few other people, we've been practicing for a while now, unknowingly. They are afloat because, like you said, it's not longer me alone. You know, the crab mentality will not work again. We have the spider web method, which the Indians use, and it works very well for them. The Chinese also practice it, where we pull resources together. When there's a job, we create a, how we used to, where you want to put, when you want to form, the back then when we used to watch Voltron, it takes the five lions to come together to create the full Voltron, not just one person. So one person
Mm.
cannot do this job. You need to come together, find ways to balance, join other businesses, see how you can prefer solution. Even I think also referring somebody can also be something, because you can't do the job, but you can refer someone, and from there you can also be referred back on the job.
Yeah.
Yeah. So um, I'm sure questions will come from this. Maybe while we go along. What I want to ask next is that looking at that kind of situation, it's it's a bit daunting now in terms of retainership. How do you what will be the strategy for business owner, be it sole proprietorship, be it partnership, be it corporations? How do they what would be your mode of how will you address retaining talents? Because almost every talent wants to jump now.
Yeah.
Retaining talent, retaining clients, customers. What will be that approach for retainership vis-a-vis clients or um, talents?
Right. That's a good question. As in retaining clients, retaining talent. I think we ought not to look at retaining clients or retaining talent. I think one thing we need to do right now is find a way as an individual, if you are creative, to retain attention. And I think attention right now is the biggest, one of the biggest commodities that you have. Rather than retaining clients or retaining um, um, talent, that is, it might be creative talent, collaborative talent. I think one thing we need to learn to do is to learn how to retain people's attention as businesses. And this is where the business in itself has to do more than just saying we can do this or saying we are the best to do this. I think what we need right now is trust. So rather than trying to gain um, transactional um, transactional leeway. What you need is to gain trust. Do you understand? Trust is at this time, trust is more important than transaction. And I'll tell
Mm.
you why. Because you know, everybody is feeling the pinch, some more than others. But the truth of the matter is no matter how much you feel the pinch, you're still going to spend that money. You have to spend the money. You understand? You have to spend the money. Food is not an option. You must buy food. Um, um, living is not an option. You must live somewhere. Fuel. no matter how you think about it, is not an option. And those are even basic things. But then when you even go down to the really small things, clothing is not an option. Entertainment is not an option. You understand? It has been built into us as a lifestyle that people will stop seeking entertainment. It's not true. But now, people, what I'm trying to say, people will still spend money on these things. But now, what people are going to think about is, can I trust this business I'm working with to deliver the value for this expectation that I have? Whether it's a food expectation, an entertainment expectation, an art expectation, a music expectation, a clothing expectation. Can I trust you? Can I trust you that when I spend this my 20K on you, I will not regret it? Because the worst thing about economic hardship is not spending. You will spend. Spending goes on. Spending never stops. It is what pains you the most is spending money that is hard to earn right now on something that doesn't give you the value you want. That's what kills people. Because if it was a booming economy, you spend money like, okay, I made a mistake. But now people do not think they don't want to make mistakes anymore. I must get it right. This one. So like yesterday, um yesterday was my birthday, and my kids, they're like, Daddy, you need to buy pizza for us. And okay, I said, okay. So my wife said, let's order it. So I ordered it. And we ordered from this brand here in Abuja. And they delivered. And when they delivered, we opened it. The whole pizza fell out of the box. It wasn't holding together. It was like if somebody had eaten it. You understand? I wish I even taken a photo of it. It was like if someone had eaten it and just put some slices there. It was not a circle to start with. It was just individual slices in there. And my wife, we paused for a long time. I'm like, I'm not buying from these people again. You know, the truth is that it is, it is, it is, I won't say it's an unforgivable sin on a good day. But on a day when you know how much you spent to grudgingly order that pizza, and they now give you that, we've cut them off. You understand? We've cut them off at the knees right now. We're like, we're not going to buy. They've broken that trust. You understand? And that's why I believe that rather than thinking of retaining clients, is trust. Trust is what businesses must leverage on right now. So when you are working with a client, don't have it in your mind that I want this person to come back. Don't think of that. Think of I want this person to be absolutely happy with what I'm doing right now. Totally happy. 100% putting myself into this work like it's the last job I'll ever do. When you do that, you build trust in that person's mind. That person now realize, okay, if I have 100K allocated to this thing, I know where I'm going. I'm going here because that 100K, even though it pinched me to make that 100K I will not regret it when I spend it on this person. So it is now that we now need to have enough focus to not get distracted by will this client come back? Just assume the client not going to come back. Assume you are doing this thing like if you do it and then you will die. And then when you do it that way, you put your whole self into it, and then just leave the client to go and just you see what you build then is trust. You understand? Trust is the most important thing that I feel people should build. Not retainership. Retainership is very hard in this economy. It's hard for
Mm.
people to go and come back on a consistent basis. Everybody is spreading out their resources thinly. So to say, I want to do a 1 year, 2 year retainer with you, nobody's making that kind of statement anymore. They are living each day at a time. But what you want to do is build trust to a point whereby when their neighbor wants to do it, they're like, I worked with this person. Do it where they can recommend you to more people by a period of time than retaining one client. Retaining one client right now is almost an illusion. You understand? An illusion. Talent, the same thing with talent too. Talent is very unstable right now. Talent is very unstable. You work with somebody, call them next week, they jackpot. You
Mm.
understand what I'm saying? What you want to do is build a trustworthy brand enough that there are people lining up to have that experience with you. So even if you call the person as jackpot, you put it out there before you know it, somebody else is there ready to work with you because they say, man, this Mr. Tola's bank, I've been waiting to have the opportunity to work with them. But to lean on somebody and say, this guy is my main architect now. This guy is my main interiors person. This is my main carpenter. No, 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 no. You can't work that way because people are fickle. People jackbar anyhow. So you must have a wide range of people that are waiting to work with your brand because you're a trustworthy brand. You understand? I think that's how you can survive it. But pitching your tent with one client now, those businesses will die. Pitching your tent with one vendor now, no, that's not going to, it's not going to work. You understand? You just need to build trust to a point whereby, number one, clients that are not able to work with you are able to recommend you as a brand or a creative entity that can deliver. And people that might drop working with you one day, their gap will not be too felt because you have other people who cannot wait to work with you because of the way you position yourself as number one a creative to work with or an organization or a business that they want to be part of in the long run.
Wow, it's refreshing to hear these things because, like I said earlier, these are some of the things we've experienced. I remember trying to get some tires recently, and over time I've used this particular vendor, but unfortunately, what I was getting was not what they had given me before. So I
Mm,
felt great, and it was charging. And what even happened was that I realized that they had charged me almost 10,000 naira extra on each item because I found out somebody bought, and the trading and the teaching of that person was better than mine. So I felt very cheated. I called him. I was so furious. Like, I trusted you with this. I bought this from you, and this is what you gave me. What you've given me before was better than what you're serving me now. Why did you have to?
mm.
I felt cheated. I didn't even mind that I was paying extra, but the fact that I paid extra and you
And
still
didn't
did,
get what you wanted.
like, I'm not going to use this vendor anymore. And I reported it to the person that referred me. So I can relate with that point that we should try to build trust, irrespective of how if the client comes back or not. And I think
Mm,
that trust should be put for talents and for clients because everybody's trying to find their footing. So you can have a good client that sorry talent that wants to leave. And I remember we had a section where an architect said that architect Makinde, he mentioned that he would rather have a good um, talent for a short period to do jobs than retaining a redundant one that will be there for over
mm,
3 years and not giving value. Even if he's going to relocate, his best is just what he needs to do and he can move on to somebody else than having someone that's not being productive and you're just paying the person and you're not getting a value. So I think some of these things go hand in hand. But like you said, these are times where we need to change our perspective to things, think of look at it from a wider perspective and not limit ourselves to okay, what am I getting, what am I gaining? It's not all
mm.
about me right now. We need to look at it from a different point of view. So
Yeah, and so true. Just to chip in something there, mm, mm, if you want to retain talent, and especially if you are someone that employs talent, maybe on a contract basis or on a long-term employment basis, you see, there's no better way to build trust than to have integrity of of agreement of payment as at when due and of the amount you agreed on. So you get a lot of people that have lost talent because of number one, there's greed. There's greed on this on your side as a business entity whereby I have this thing when I work with people, like I do designs, I do logos, and sometimes that materializes into doing signages for organizations. And I realize when I do signages, I have people that I work with on contract basis for signages. And a lot of times when I get paid to do signages, there's an upfront payment. A lot of times that upfront payment, I give it all to the people that are doing the technical work for the signages. You understand? I get paid last a lot of times. So even if there's an outstanding from the client, I'm the one going to chase for the outstanding. But my subcontractors must always get paid. You understand? They always get paid. So if I do a signage now for 100,000, let's just put it that way, and that's how much I'm charging for the signage. And let's say the contractor is charging maybe 60K. So what I get from signage is like 40K, and the 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 client gives an upfront of 60K to get the work done. A lot of times, what I do is just pay the subcontractor the 60K to get the work done. You understand? And then if when we are done, I chase after my 40K and allow that my subcontractor to go. You see, what a lot of people do is they will take that 60K and then they will give the subcontractor 30K and then they will pay themselves and get 30K. And then when the work is done and they want to get the 40K, they now start chasing the client and telling the subcontractor to be patient. So that they are not paying me, they are not paying me. That's a disrespect to your subcontractor. In that way, you do not have any trust anymore. You see, trust is built by when people know that if I work with Seun, then I'm getting paid. I'm getting paid no matter what the economy is. Seun will stay true to his word. Look, if you work that way, Seun, people will jackpot and still want to work with you. You understand? Because they know that it's just an integrity you have. So when people tell me about trust in retaining talent, the first thing, are you paying salaries on time? So it's better to lay off. You have a staff strength of 6 people, economic hardship. It's better to lay off 4 people, have 2 people who you know you can maintain their salaries and you pay it at on time. You get the best out of them than to say economic hardship and with your greed, you want to keep those 6 people and you keep owing them till the middle of the month. You understand? You will never
yeah,
keep talent that way. There's no integrity. There will never be any trust.
this the point you just made now. Trust, making payments when due, and having a relationship whereby they believe and understand that this is what you stand for. I think
Mm,
it cuts across. uh, both the contractor and some clients. But as a contractor or as a creative, you try to build that relationship where your people can always relate with what you're doing. So, what advice would you have for creatives or designers, either new, old, or those that are just wanting to come to that line of business? What general advice would you have for creatives?
I think one advice I have for creatives or designers, whether you're new or old, is explore. Don't spend too much time marketing, or maybe marketing traditionally. I think everybody does that, and it's not catching anybody's attention right now. Um, I think telling people, "Oh, we are good at doing this thing. We are the best," showing people the work you've done for other clients. I see a lot of creatives portfolio slinging. And what I call portfolio slinging is every day they are showing you what they are doing for other people. What they've done for other people. So, we worked on this project, we worked on that project, we worked on this. So they are portfolio slinging. You are seeing portfolios everywhere on WhatsApp statuses. Everybody's showing portfolio, hoping to get clients from showing your portfolio. I don't think that's going to work as much anymore because there are too many people doing it. And when that happens too many times, people do not even know what good work is anymore because they are seeing, because everybody's doing almost good work now and you're looking around, and so it's so hard to judge who to work with. And I'm still going to come to this issue of trust. Rather than portfolio slinging and showing what you can do in terms of who you worked for, showing, oh, we worked on this stuff, we worked on, don't you like what you're seeing? I think the best way to position yourself as a creative now is to share knowledge. I don't think enough people are sharing knowledge. And
True.
so knowledge is it endears people. So if you're a creative and let's say you are a photographer, rather than showing a barrage of photos that you've taken and how amazing they are, take some time to teach people how to take their own photos. Teach them how to set their phone to take very good photos. Just teach them a skill. If you are if you're an interior designer, you're just asking people come and work with me, man. I can call you, I can revamp your sitting room, revamp your kitchen. Don't don't have exercise some restraint and don't push your portfolio out immediately or often. Think of how you can teach people to re redesign their own houses just in small ways. Tell them how to position furniture, tell them how to the kind of light fixtures to use. It seems counterintuitive because people will think if I teach them how they call me. That's not true. The truth is that when you share knowledge, a vast amount of people will not use that knowledge. A lot of people find knowledge interesting to absorb, but not to apply. I can guarantee you, a lot of people find absorbing knowledge more interesting than applying it. So they just say, oh, so that's what I can do when I want to arrange my sitting room next time. But when they really want to do it, they wouldn't do it. They'll say,
Mm,
let me call this guy that normally advises us on how to do. That's what they will do.
mm,
If someone should advise me on how to service my car at home, I'll be like, that's good. I'll absorb the knowledge. I have that knowledge. I'll use it one day. Say, "No, I won't use it." When that time comes for me to service my car, because I want to utilize that money, I'm like, who is that? Oh, that guy that nobody teaches us. Is he in Abuja? Is he in Lagos? He's like, Abuja, they have a shop in Abuja. Let me go there. He has taught me. So he cares about me. Because he cares about me, I know he will do the work well. That woman that teaches me how to cook jollof rice, I might not do it, you understand, but she has taught me. And because there's a knowledge connection. When I have a party, trust me, I don't want to sit down cooking jollof rice myself. I
true.
found it entertaining, absorbing your knowledge. But when it's time to apply it, I will call you. Do you understand? So I feel creatives need to try to do that some more when they we need to start slinging knowledge, not
Mm,
slinging because people are selfish. So when you share your portfolio, what a shared portfolio, the best it will do is it will make people make inquiries. So, oh, this guy, I see him putting up interiors that he does. They are very beautiful. Oh, yeah, let us ask him how much it costs. Enquiries do not build businesses.
mm,
Engagement does. So you can have 500 inquiries unless one person says, you know what, I am willing to work with you and I will pay your price. Your business cannot succeed. So so it is actually inquiry engagement that builds businesses, not inquiries. And what will make engagement is trust. So I would advise creatives and business people to share more knowledge. Whatever area you are, just think of how you can empower people. Make
mm.
them absorb some knowledge. You understand, and you realize that when they actually need to work, you'll be the first person they come to call.
Yeah, thank you so much for that, T. So I have a question here. It says that what are some qualities to look out for when going into collaboration so it doesn't become counterproductive? So how when you want to collaborate, how do you checkmate these kind of things? Because in the advent of trying to collaborate, you could get burnt at the same time because
Yeah.
you one that knows your heart. You don't know what people are thinking, especially if these are people that you've not worked with before. I don't know if the buyer is on this live. He also had something similar, tried to collaborate, and it has become a mess and probably becoming a legal matter. So, what is the best approach to go about collaborations and so that it doesn't become counterproductive?
All right, that's a good question, and it's a real dilemma, especially when it comes to collaborating. And this where I believe that collaborating, when you collaborate in a way, um, collaborate at scale, and what that means is you start with small projects to big projects. And
Mm,
depending on like with you now, you're working with this person for the first time. I don't know, for some reason you decided to switch up your vendors. Well, that's not bad to switch up your vendors, but then um, when you switch up vendors, start with small projects, especially when you're working with new people. Start with small projects to test people out. Even that is not foolproof, but it's wiser because you know what? I say this to my wife a lot of times that I've come to that place where I do not I do not turn a blind eye on anything, especially when working with people. And I tell her, don't turn a blind eye. Like sometimes she's working with a vendor on social media, and I'm like, take attention to every single thing. And what
mm,
does that mean? I'm like, when you write the person a message, how long does it take them to reply? A lot of times we take that for granted. Like, say, I sent this person a message yesterday, and 24 hours she hasn't replied. I'm like, put a pin in that. That is a sign. It's always
mm,
people always show themselves. They don't even know they're showing themselves. Just like people we don't pay attention to the small things. So when the
true.
person doesn't reply, it takes them 2 days, 3 days. I'm like, don't work with that person. Don't
Mm,
work with that person. From my experience in business, those small things have a cascading effect, and they express and they are revealers of deeper things. So when the
true.
person doesn't, someone that doesn't reply their mail early, cannot deliver work early. That's the
Mm,
truth. No matter what you see on their Instagram page, whatever the portfolio they see, is those small things that you should check out for. How they correspond in terms of, are they one word answer people? So when you're talking with them, one word, they kind of seem antisocial. You
mm,
understand? They don't greet, they don't do this. Be careful. It's showing some character flaws. It's showing that their human relationship leaves a lot to be desired. You need to be careful with those kinds of people. Um, so it's the small things that really reveal what you will get going into a project. And so in collaborating, one thing I would say is always start from home before you start looking out. And what I
mm.
mean is from home is like right now, what you people have in this FDC, that's the name, FDC, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. What you have is a network of creative professionals. This is a very important thing that you have. When you're working with people, it's better to start from places like this than to go out into the market and work with a total stranger. You understand? So, obviously, with groups like this, the expectation is that you have shared values.
True.
Not everyone might align perfectly, but for someone to be so divergent to try to trip you off, like what this guy did, put his own invoice there and just try to just totally cut you off from the stuff, the chances are less. You understand? So if you're working with, you see, you mentioned Active Bio just now. I don't know who he is, but
Mm,
then if you wanted to look for an architect to collaborate with, start from here. You
mm,
understand? Start from those small groups. And that's why I started by saying, look, we must start having these smaller forums of
mm,
designers, photographers, interior designers, architects, fashion designers. Have those small groups where you guys begin to talk and just talk on normal things. And by talking, you know the person that is brash, the someone that will reveal himself that is not good with money, will reveal himself one day. Just have a notebook and just say, this guy, he has shown from his communication today during our chat that I shouldn't trust him with money. Some people
mm,
just say, one client is trying, you are talking with them, the client trying to call me, I don't go pick a call right now, Jerry, man, and the work not ready. You
mm.
are thinking it's between him and that, but the day you work with him, the same way you reject your own call too. You understand?
True.
Take a mental note. This guy, when he can't deliver, he wouldn't pick calls. You need to cut down people like that. And then when you begin to collaborate, don't collaborate with the people you like.
Mm,
Collaborate with the people that you do not have their names penned down for anything. You might don't need to like them. Those are people. The mistake we make is that we collaborate with people we like. You understand?
mm,
And it's a big mistake. Don't collaborate with people you like. I've made that mistake before. I collaborated with a friend of mine, and it turned out it was very sore. You understand? It was a terrible experiment. But I knew that my friend had those shortcomings. Do you understand? I mean, collaborate with somebody, ignoring the shortcomings and just expecting that it will go well because he's a friend. Some people are good as friends, but when you extend it to business, it's not going to work. You understand? And that's why when you have business associations like this, or business forums, or business platforms like this, it's not about friendship. It's
mm.
it's truly about having what you would call professional networks of professional network of people that have shared values, shared ethos, shared work ethics. So those are people you start with first. When you start with those people, then you realize that your collaborations will be more successful. Even though we are all prone to having this making this mistake. So don't beat yourself up too much for going through that. I've gone through that many times. But what I tell people is sometimes you need to go through the really, really ugly stuff to end up with the really, really good people. So for
Yeah.
me, I did design and printing for a long time. But before I got a printer that I could trust to work with, I went through terrible printers. But now I have somebody who I can work with and go to sleep. So it's one of those things. It does happen. But I would say work from home, work from familiar to unfamiliar. So think within my familiar people, who are the people that I can trust. And before you start saying I want to work with an unfamiliar person who tells me I can trust them.
Okay. So I'm trying to see how we can take one or two more questions before we try to wrap it up. So there's a question here that says, what qualities do you think leaders need to navigate economic uncertainties effectively? So it's one thing to say you are looking out for qualities in other people, but as a creative, as a business owner, or as a leader, what do you think because there should be like a reevaluation over time, especially in times like this. What qualities do you think one should harness or garner during this period?
Okay, what leadership qualities should you have
Yes,
in
to
times
navigate
like this?
this
That you're going to
effectively.
navigate. Um, I feel, as we've said, one key leadership quality is one of integrity. Very important. As a leader, people must be able to trust what you say and take it to the bank. I think that quality is very important at this time. That you are someone that does what they set out to do, and your word is your bond. Very important. I think another thing you should have if you are a leader is also, as we've also said, is that self-sacrificial attitude or approach towards things. The leader always eats last. Very important that you understand that you eat last as a leader, and that sometimes might mean that you might eat the smallest or even not eat at all sometimes. It's also, depending on what capacity you are working on as a leader, maybe that's someone running a business, employing people, or someone working with people collaboratively, there must be there must be a self-sacrificial end to it, where you put other people before you. Um, I think that always we always undervalue or underrate what it is for people to know that you look out for them. It's so important for us to be able to build that character, especially in an economically hard time like this, where you are able to look out for people. And because I really believe that human capacity is one of the biggest resources that we have right now. Biggest resource is being able to build human wealth, where people are willing to take a cut for you. You understand? And when you tell them, look, oh, then the budget for this thing is pretty low. I'm telling you, I just want to do this work because I need something to come in. Are you willing to take a cut with me? They are willing to trust you because over time they've seen you take a cut for them. That's very important. And sometimes those jobs that are just not big jobs, just able to keep the lights on, are done because there's somebody that's willing to take a cut for you. Just say, because you're my guy now, I can do this thing for you. I'll just run this project for you so that something can come in for you. That doesn't happen just because they like you. It happens in return of something that you've done for them too. You understand? It's something that is reciprocated rather than initiated. You understand? You reciprocate it, so you must initiate it. But I think lastly, one quality I feel leaders should have is this is not a time to be a an instructional leader, someone that only gives instruction. And we have a lot of people that run businesses that they do not have any technical ability to run. They have no technical ability for their own businesses. So um, technically, they are very aloof.
Hmm.
So they always depend on Jide to do this, Sarah to do that, Sarah to do. Then what they do, they'll tell you they are the marketing people, but they don't
Hmm.
do anything. You understand?
Hmm.
It's not going to work this time because you are always at the mercy of somebody else. As a leader right now, I would say the leaders that will survive economic hardship are the leaders that can do at least 70% of the job.
Hmm.
70% of the job, you know that when it comes down to it, You can sit down and do 70%. And that 30% is the one where you need to call GD or Sarah for. Do you understand? So if the job falls short at all, it will not fall short 100%. It
Mm.
will not fall, it will fall short at most 30%. You understand? And 70% is still a pass mark, you understand? So we need leaders that know how to do the job. So right now, you see, I'm a designer, I do logo design. There's some people that run design agencies. They don't know how to launch Adobe Photoshop or Adobe Illustrator. They don't know. But all they are, they'll tell you they are creative director. Creative director will suffer in economic hard times. You understand? Because nobody has the chance, nobody has the resources to pay somebody to be directing now. You understand? So you cannot be creative director and just say, man, all I just do is just get these young boys together and these young girls and they do the work and I deliver. No, 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 no. Nobody's carrying any young boys anymore because young boy himself wants to get his own clients. So
Yes.
now you yourself, you need to be able to do what young boys used to do. So
Mm.
the way I am, if someone comes to me to do a logo job, I can do 70% of the job. 70, 80, 90 self. You understand? It's only if I feel like, man, I don't want to micromanage everything. I've done the
Yeah.
logo. I want one guy to do business card and a letterhead and stuff. I will give it to him. But to sail to that logo point, I have the technical ability. So we need leaders that are able to do the job. It's just like in the army or in the military or in the navy. We have generals that can't fight war.
Yeah.
All they did was just pass an exam, put them in war, they can't fight. But we have some, more they have war battles. But if it comes to taking gun from the recruit and shoot, they can shoot. You understand what I'm saying? Those are the ones that get the most respect. You understand? When wartime comes, those are the ones that will survive. You understand? Not the ones that can't really shoot a gun. You understand? So we need leaders that really have technical capacity. So if you have a business, you have a bakery, you can't bake. Go and learn how to do some bake. You learn how to bake. Like you have a photography studio, you cannot take photograph. You don't have a business here. So that when that person disappoints you, you can say, give me the camera, let me take it. It might not be as good as yours, but I can shoot too. You understand what I'm saying? Very important. If you're a fashion designer, know how to cut material, know how to do those things. So those things are very important for a leader to be able to do. Learn technical skills.
So just to add to what you just said, over time I've realized that we leaders in this part of the world have this myopic, let me say, myopic mindset that when somebody comes in as an intern, the person remains an intern and does not grow. It is important that we realize that that intern can become a partner, can become a co-owner, and become another business owner. So
Mhm.
if you allow that growth, it helps you at the end of the day in terms of you can now collaborate because you've trained this person. The person can also be a business because you have people that have relocated or jackpot and their business suffered because they were not able to trust that hand that they trained to be a
Very
part
true.
of them. So if you can see someone that came to you as an infant, served with you, started working with you, let there be that review so that at the end of the day, when you pour into this person and the person can stand on his feet, you at the end of the day you are benefiting. But when you hold knowledge that you try to create a barricade, you be the one that will suffer for it, you know. So
Mm.
create that synergy and allow that growth to happen organically. So there's this last question before we try to wrap up. From Adrian, she said, "How do you advise one to handle collaboration among spouses, especially when the woman is the main character, especially when one spouse doesn't meet up with client's criteria?" So I think this has to be like a husband and wife thing. So how do you advise one to handle collaboration among spouses? I know that for some spouses, they've tried it didn't work, either both architects or both contractor and architect. But what would be the best way? Because these are two different things coming to play: husband and wife, contractor and vendor. What would be the best way to address this? Seeing that the woman is probably the one spearheading this kind of job.
All right, that's a good question. And I personally believe that then husband and wife um, tag team to form a business, it's almost an unbeatable alliance if it's done right. But a lot of people don't do it right. But it's a very powerful thing. It is a very powerful thing, but people don't get it right. And people don't get it right because people cannot separate marital dynamics from
Hmm.
business dynamics. You understand? So a lot of people cannot work with the fact that as when it comes to my business, my wife leads the way. I play a more secondary part. But they get that thing in their head that okay, I'm the man, I'm the this, so I must lead the way, I must do this. No, 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 no. This is where a couple must be vulnerable enough to know who to work with your strengths. You understand? And know who has more strengths in this area, who is the more outgoing, who has better communication skills, who has better financial management skills, who is better, even if you have husband and wife working and you have staff, who is a better intermediary between the staff. You understand? It's very important to work your on your strength. Very important. Um, there are a lot of husband and wife collaborations that fail because they are not vulnerable enough with each other. So there's a lot of ego, there's a lot of pride, and those things fall businesses in the long run. So I really believe that it can work out. It can work out if the dynamics of business you are able to keep it separate from the dynamics of of marriage. Very important that you're able to keep it separate. If you're able to keep it separate and you're clear headed enough, humble enough to know, look, I'll let my wife handle it because she's actually better, or I'll let my husband handle this because actually better at this. It's actually an unbeatable force. It is an unbeatable force for you guys to, and you're also able to define business hours um, from what you call off business hours, and that's the mistake a lot of people make as it regards working with your spouse.
To your question, graphics. You said there's another problem that sometimes the leader is not knowledgeable, so that it feels like the team is not delivering. I think for that kind of situation, it's important that the leader knows how to share knowledge. When you share knowledge and you bring up people, you get quality. So thank you everyone for joining us. I really want to appreciate our guest. Unfortunately, he has been cut off, but I'll just try to put one or two words out. Thank you to Lady P for putting this together. FDC community, I say thank you. If you want to hear more from our speaker, check him out on all streaming platforms from YouTube to Spotify. Pro Up Masterclass by Tola Alabi. You check it out. Pro Up Masterclass. Lady P, can you help me type that in the jumbotron? Pro Up Masterclass by Tola Alabi. Check him on YouTube. Check him on Spotify and all streaming platforms. Sure, you will get to relate with one or two things that he will speak on. He's an architect by training, but he's also the king of logos. You can reach him up on his social handles, Tola Labi TA, and you can interact with him. And if you feel that is mentoring that you need for your business, for your personal growth, you can check out his products on or his video audios on the streaming platforms. Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate. Um, it has been a wonderful time, and I'm sure that these things that we've heard would go a long way and help us as business owners. Thank you once again, FDC. Thank you, Lady P, Polola, the whole FDC community. I appreciate. So don't stop sharing knowledge, because when you share knowledge, it comes back to you. Whatever you've learned, share it as well. That's the way we can build this community. Let's leave the crab in the bucket mentality. Crabs don't behave like that. Whatever created the bucket or whoever brought the bucket has done that to our disservice. But let's get rid of the crab in the bucket mentality and see how we can adopt the spider web method, where we help one another, and by help one another, we help the community. FDC is for tomorrow. FDC is for today, and I really appreciate everybody that came on. Have a wonderful evening, and stay curious, stay creative.